get the president to step down. And this dramatic increase in violence, the type of weapons that are being used, machetes, small knives, petrol bombs, and random gunfire ringing out throughout the night. As you can see from the pictures, the anti-government demonstrators were able to slowly snatch back some land, snatch back area from the square leading to October the 6th bridge. They've barricaded themselves in, and they are saying that they are there to stay. It'll be interesting to see now what the pro-government supporters do, if they are indeed being sponsored by the state, by the government, what sort of weaponry or arsenal they'll be coming back with today, because there's a belief that yesterday certainly set the tone of more battles to come. We've seen that now some anti-government demonstrators have secured some rooftops which are overlooking the streets leading up to the square. We've also been listening to quite a well-respected Egyptian journalist who believes that some sort of rooftop attack now on the anti-government protesters is a possibility. It'll be interesting to see, Veronica, what breaks this impasse now, because the demonstrators said, look, we've won this battle, we've secured our block, and it's going to be very difficult for you to get in now. Will there be some type of political maneuvering that could break this? We'll have to wait and see.
In that live picture, we've been seeing the anti-government demonstrators mounting a bus. They're on the roof of a bus in some great numbers and inside it as well, which reminds me of the scenes that we were seeing yesterday, of course. Do you remember that bus that was driven right in amongst the demonstrators in Tahrir Square? For those people who are joining us and who may not be across everything that happened yesterday, you know, what stood out for you as those clashes broke out?
Well, it was the fact that there was a change in tone yesterday. Definitely, it was a lot noisier. It was a lot more vocal. We've seen up until then a celebratory type of atmosphere in the square. The anti-government demonstrators believing that they'd reached some sort of tipping point that now was inevitable. That well, the president was going to go and he should go sooner, and they believed that they were listened to. And then suddenly, these battles broke out. You saw a lot more pro-government supporters in their hundreds storming towards the square, and then they were followed by men on horseback and camelback, and that for me was incredible. It was almost like ancient battle in the streets, on the streets of this capital, and they marched through the demonstrators. The demonstrators are trying to pull some of these men off, and they believe that they are workers at the Giza perimeter and that they had been paid by the government to do justice. And that certainly changed the tone. It certainly ramped it up another level or two. And we saw this toing and froing of the battle between the pro and anti-government demonstrators. They were throwing whatever they could lay their hands on at each other, mainly stones. You saw a lot of people walking around with blood pouring from their head. Then we heard that the streets leading off the square had been blocked off by pro-government supporters, and that they were very well armed. At the same time, we were getting reports that busloads of pro-government supporters were being bussed in from airports. So suddenly those numbers swelled of pro-Mubarak supporters. They were saying that he is here to stay. They were also chanting anti-Al Jazeera chants, believing that we distorted the news and that we weren't showing the true picture. But the true picture certainly was that we had pro and anti-Egyptian turning on Egyptian. It's believed that many of those pro-government supporters who were caught and handed into the Metro police station had government or police ID on them. So that certainly justifies that allegation. So Veronica, ever since then, the tone had changed. Just these pitched battles, people scuttling off in all directions, and pretty much a lockdown with the army staying back, as we've seen all the way through. I mean, I'm looking out over them now. There's several tanks around the square. They haven't got involved at all. We've also heard gunfire ringing out across the square. We're not sure from where that's coming from, what direction that's coming from.
The gunfire is continuing even now.
It's continuing, yes. I mean, we've heard a couple of loud bangs this morning. Not sure what that is. We've heard artillery fire. For about an hour, this machine gun fire was just ringing out across the square. Again, not sure. We think it's coming from a northerly direction, but it's obviously very hard to tell when it's, when it comes to gunfire.
The government has been making an argument that these demonstrations need to stop in order for negotiations to take place, in order for life to turn back to normal. There's been an incredible hit to the Egyptian economy taken as a result of the unrest. What would be the response of anti-government protesters?
Well, anti-government protesters are not budging. They want the president to go, and they want him to go now. It's not acceptable, as far as they're concerned, for him to stay on until September, when the next elections will take place. They know the impact it's having on the country, and they know the impact it's having on them. It's very hard to get food. The food prices are shooting through the roof. It's been very hard to get, it's almost been impossible to get money out. It's been very difficult to put petrol into cars, but they don't want to move. A lot of Egyptians believe that they should stop the protest now, that they've got their message across, that this man who's led them for 30 years, and there are a lot of emotions linked to him. You know, the state-controlled media has been very effective in delivering the message that the president has heard the protesters, he's taken their demands into account, he is stepping down, he's prepared to enforce changes, constitutional changes, and yet they are not stopping the protest. So there really is a feeling amongst ordinary Egyptians that this needs to end. I was just talking to my producer now, and he was saying that a lot of Egyptians really don't know what is happening in their country. If you had to watch state TV, it paints a very different picture. You've seen a lot of close-ups of pro-Mubarak supporters. Now, for the first time, we're seeing lots of shots of the anti-government supporters. They are almost being portrayed as thugs. So there really is a public opinion war underway in the country. But Veronica, you're right. It is imperative that something breaks this impasse, because this country is grinding to a halt. What it is that's going to break it at this stage is unclear. There is no leader who can change or who can lead these anti-government protesters to some sort of unity government or interim government. We've had Mohammed al-Baradar's name's been put forward, but there's a lot of divisions as far as support for him is concerned. Many people don't believe that he truly represents the Egyptians.
Stand by for a moment as we watch these live pictures in Cairo, because I just want to bring viewers back to the shocking events of the last few hours. One protester in the middle of Tahrir Square described the events as horrific, a horrific night. I have been speaking with several activists and protesters who are gathered in the square, also known as Tahrir Square, many of them youths under the age of 25, very emotional. And they say they are braving the violence for a cause. Among the activists, Mona Saif, who says they will stay put for as long as it takes to get a regime change.
We've lost a lot of people, and we've lost them for a cause. The cause is that we wanted Mubarak to be out. We owe it to them to stick it till the end. We have many injured people. It will be very hard to move them. And we know, everyone in this square knows, if we decided to give in now, they will hunt us one by one. We've been through this. We know it. They are shooting. There are people, there are some of the thugs with rifles on the bridge, and they shot at our demonstrators. Like the latest of our dead protesters, he was shot right through the head. I had two friends watching this happen. We are not leaving this place till Mubarak leaves. So there are only two options for the whole world to do. Either they stick to Mubarak and his regime, and you lose thousands of people in this square, and it does not definitely become the Liberation Square, it becomes the Massacre Square or whatever they want to call it, or they put an end to Mubarak regime and give these people, the remaining people here, a chance at living a good life.
You could hear the emotion, the shock, the fear in Mona's voice as she was speaking to us on the phone from Tahrir Square a few hours ago. But what's it like now? We can see the picture on our screens at the moment, and Ahmad Gamal is on the phone. He's been in Tahrir all night. What is going on at the moment?
When it came at night, it was pretty hard to come in. like there was blockage everywhere. And I came walking from home to here, and it was very hard to get in. When I came in, they were throwing stones over us from 6 October Bridge and from below the bridge, and we were throwing back. We had some corrugated metal sheets that we used to defend ourselves. And then it kept like that almost all night. We had the control over. Then we took it over. We were throwing Molotov bombs on us, and also there was tear gas bombs. I don't know where they come from, but there was 2 of them, and I'm pretty sure they are tear gas bombs because I was here on Friday and I know the smell. Okay, it kept this way till first time. At first time, we took control over 6 October Bridge. I went to pray, and by the time I came back, they took control. And now they are over the bridge, throwing on us stones, and we are throwing back on them.
Right now, we're watching on our TV screens the live picture from Tahrir Square. We're seeing some tanks actually close to the 6 October Bridge, and there's somebody in front of the tanks. The military hasn't been getting involved at all. What do you make of that?
I'm sorry, can you repeat your question, please?
We're looking at live pictures of tanks near Tahrir Square, Liberation Square. But the army hasn't been getting involved. What do you think about that?
I'm sorry, I didn't get it.
What do you think about the army not getting involved last night?
Okay, the army gives us a lot of excuses, and they try to prevent us from getting on the bridge at the beginning, and they are very unclear. They seem to... I don't know what, I don't trust anybody at this moment, actually. So I don't know what are they planning to do or what are they going to do. I have no idea.
Do you think it would be more dangerous if they got involved? Yeah. Do you think it would be more dangerous?
I took one officer in the army, and he told me there's like foreign agenda that's being planned for us, and the media is against us, and he mentions several channels, and he told us don't believe that, and just get into the square and we'll defend you, but nobody listened to him actually.
Do you think it would be more dangerous or less dangerous if the military became involved?
I'm sorry. Can you speak slowly and very loudly, please?
Yeah. Do you think it would be more dangerous if the army got involved?
I don't know. At the beginning, I felt safe and secure when the army got in. After that, I don't know now. But still, I think they are much more better than the thugs on the street and on police forces that was here on Friday. They were brutal. I seen someone beaten up by 3 soldiers, and I never seen such brutal hitting before, even as acting on TV.
All right.
But that was not today. That was on Friday.
That was on Friday?
Yes.
Okay. Are you worried about more violence now?
Am I worried about what?
More violence now, today.
Repeat, please. Sorry.
Are you worried there could be more violence today, now?
More problems?
More violence. Fighting.
I'm not getting it. I think there's a network problem. I can barely hear you.
Are you afraid now?
Yeah, of course I'm afraid, and I push myself, and, you know, I have something to fight for, and I'm afraid. Sometimes I'm tired, and I push myself, so, you know, just natural human thing. Like, I feel that I have to be sincere for something, and I push myself for it. And sometimes I feel I'm weak, and I push myself, and we'll see what happens. But actually, like, when we were pushing, actually now the bridges, I don't see except very few people, and I don't see except probably